Welcome to episode 650 of the Aussie Tech Heads, recorded on 26th of September 2019. Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by startnewcompany.com.au. Register your fast, easy and direct with ASIC, all documentation provided and held in your account for downloading at any time. If you're an accountant or other professional, you are able to brand all documents with your company name. Coming soon, ABN, TFN and trusts. Special discount codes for ATH listeners. At the cart, use ATH20 for a $20 discount. And athwebhosting.com.au. Servers operate on SSD drives, immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, easy install of WordPress, Joomla and Drupal. And we have back again Australia's two top podcasters. I'm your host, Jason Oakley. I'm joined this week by Will Tompkinson. Hey!
Hey, mate, how are you?
Good to see us, isn't it?
It is. Just ask
You're
us.
all welcome. You're all welcome. Our presence, our humble presence. We're very humble, aren't we?
You got presents. I didn't know I had to do presents.
I knew you were coming. I felt your presence. Wait, what?
That wasn't my present, just smelled. Wait, what?
Stop feeling my things, will you?
Yeah, especially anyway.
That's rude, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Flashback. Very good.
Kylie Mole.
Kylie Mole, yeah. Her and her front bum.
What have you been up to lately, sir?
Working and trying to figure out this bloody weather.
Crazy.
We were having 1 degree nights and then 13-degree days. And then we have 29, 33-degree days and 6-degree nights. So it's just like
WTF, mate?
Yeah, so apparently they forgot about, spring. We don't have spring this year. We've just gone winter, summer. But we don't have the summer storms yet. So we have, out here, it's super dry. We had 5 mil last week, and it just about evaporated before it even hit the ground. It just didn't do anything at all. It's just, there's just nothing out here, no water. There's some towns out here that literally they're on bottled water from the supermarket because there's not even enough water to supply the tankers to go and fill up their dams.
Mount Franklin will be very happy.
And yet, Coca-Cola, yeah. And yet the South Australian government just released out of one of the major storage dams, and they released that much water down the Murray that they've flooded entire bushland areas and killed acres worth of animals, kangaroos and koalas and stuff, because they flooded it. They released the water that quick. They've created floods.
Oh,
so
can't do anything right, can they?
The water's still not usable because there's just a wall of water traveling down the Murray. It's not usable water. The farmers can't even. They've put restrictions on it, so the farmers can't even pump from it. They've just used it to flush out the Murray, but they've decided to kill everything along the way.
Not even the cotton farmers?
Only the Chinese farmers. They're the ones who are allowed to use it.
Yep. As for me, well, I had a power supply in my desktop computer, and for a week, every time I turned on the desktop computer, there was sparks shooting out the back of the power supply. And then one day I turned it on, and it went bang, and then it wouldn't turn on ever again. So
yeah, sparks are usually an indicator there's a problem.
Yeah, right. But it was very dramatic. And so I got the power supply out and I went around town. I went to one of the computer shops, was like, can I get one of these? And they're like, it's a gaming modular power supply. No, you can't get one of those. We don't sell them here. We had one a week ago that was like 750 watt and it sold out straight away, and we just don't keep them because nobody in this little town buys it. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. So I went to another shop in town. Hi, can I... No, what? No, we don't even stock those. People will steal them and sell them. They're very valuable. I was like, I didn't know my power supply was that good. So I thought, oh, well, I'll contact the company I bought it from. It was just a couple of years ago, and they're like, oh yeah, that's under warranty, just send it down. We'll send you back another one. So I did, and they did, and now I've got it going again, and everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, well, I'm still on my laptop because my my PC is weird. I still don't know. I'm starting to think there's actually a fault in the power circuit in the computer room where the voltage drops too low. Because I'm having issues with other things in there, like my 3D printer and stuff are playing up in there now as well. So, and when I bring them out of there and bring them out of the laser and plug them in, they work.
What have you been 3D printing these days?
Well, nothing at the moment.
When you can.
So that's the problem. I all my couple of designs that I need to print are still on my other computer that I can't turn on. So at the moment, not much. But yeah, so I need a Sparky come in and have a look and see what mouse. I reckon the mouse chewed through something somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I haven't turned on my printer in a couple of months, I think.
Yeah, I turned mine on. I printed off. Luckily, I had a couple of things I need to reprint. They were thankfully on the memory card still, so I could go back and redo them. So that worked all right.
Yeah, that's good. I've been looking around to see if I could get a VZ200 or VZ300 computer just for the old nostalgia retroness. And there's a couple of them on eBay for $600.
Yeah.
Just basic computer, no expansion, no peripherals, no data set, cassette player or anything, just the computer and a power cord, and that's about it for $600. So I've been on the Vintage Computer Facebook page begging people there. One guy a couple of months ago said, "Oh yeah, I just got one, I don't want it, you can have it for $20. I was like, cheering. And that was the last I heard of him. So a couple of days ago somebody said, "Oh, I picked up a VZ." And I was like, "Oh," and somebody else said, "I'll buy it off you." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll sell it to you." And this other guy was like, "Damn, I always miss out." And I was like, "Can I be next in line, please, if they fall through?" And then a couple of days later, I was like, "Oh, well, I guess that's nothing there." So I just posted on there, if anyone's got a VZ200 or VZ300, I'll be happy to take it off your hands, please, because I used to have one back in the day, and I've got a website all about it, and I programmed a game in C for it, Arkanoid clone called Arkaball, and so this guy's like, "Oh, you should have told me a couple of days ago. I got rid of a couple." I said, "Yes, I was the one who replied next in line, please." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't see that, so I sold 3 of them, and to all the other guys." And I was like, "Ah." He said, "But I do have a VZ200 computer inside a VZ300 case with some memory expansion and stuff built into it, directly soldered on the motherboard." And I was like, "Well, I don't care if it's not stock, just as so long as I can try out some old games." So if I do get one, I'll have to buy a small, cheap CRT monitor, because I obviously can't plug it into any of this stuff here. I had a big TV that was probably like 20-inch CRT or 20 to 30-inch CRT or something. That would have been fine, but it was just too big, and I tried to sell it on local Facebook pages and stuff, and nobody wanted it, so I ended up junking it, even though it was perfectly fine. I just didn't want this great big hulking CRT TV in the house, so I'll just get a little portable one from somewhere online, maybe eBay or Facebook group.
They're getting expensive. They really are.
Yeah.
You can get an adapter to make it work on a normal monitor.
HDMI
or VGA.
Oh, okay.
You can do RCA to VGA. So
I have to see if the VZ can do that, because we just had their antenna output.
Yeah, well, it's RCA.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the antenna part of it's a tuner, but you can, it's same principle. You can still use the RCA part of it. Oh, if it's got a tuner output, then there's an RCA plug that goes into the tuner.
Yep.
Like the tuner is the second stage of the RCA output. So like I remember on the Ataris, I don't know, or was it the Segas? They actually had a RCA or UHF slider.
Yep. And
all they did was that changed whether or not it went through the channel programmer or not.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, there's the open source one where they've recreated a board that's an emulator. And you can, it's like not an emulator, it's actually hardware. They've actually repurposed other chips to make the right chip, and that runs
Yep.
the VZ stuff natively. It's a board about yay big. I saw that the other day on YouTube.
All right. Yeah, I've seen a few people done like the FPGA circuits, and they made a VZ out of that, and some of them making, and you can also get like Raspberry Pi, and one of the guys made an emulator for that and stuff. But it'd be cool just to have an actual VZ that I can plug in something and see if I can download my Arkanoid clone onto there and maybe come up with another. One of the guys I was saying, does anybody want any new game? What would you like? And somebody was like, oh, I'd love to have Load Runner. So I thought, oh, I might be able to have a crack at a clone of that. 128 by 64 pixels and 4 colors.
So that's the other thing too. You got to be careful, because if you're designing it for NTSC or PAL, because they're different resolutions and they won't work. So if you're designing it, you really got to almost design 2 versions of the game.
Ah, right. Yep.
So that's what I was watching on YouTube. That a guy built his own video card out of basic timing circuits and clock chips and crystals, and put them on breadboards and created a video card that could display a picture on a monitor.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it was actually not that difficult.
Oh, okay.
The hardest part about it is actually updating the picture. But to display a static image actually isn't that difficult.
Oh, yeah, I was watching a Young Inventors show like 20 years ago or something, and the guy who won that particular episode of the show was created a graphics card for a computer, and I didn't even know what that was back in that time.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
Commodore 64, and they're like, oh, I just, made my own graphics card, and I was like, nice, whatever that is.
Yeah, what's a graphics card?
Yeah. Then I got my Seng Labs 3000 card and couldn't get drivers for it. But for Windows 3.1 to have 800 by 600 and 256 colors, but I eventually found one on a shareware floppy disk, and that was all right. Then I could have 800 by 600, 256 colors. Yeah.
That was my Trident Turbo 3D graphics card. Actually, that was the second one I had. That was the one I had on my 486. On my 386, I had a ISA double length. So the thing was about a foot and a half longer. Like, it literally filled up the entire case.
Yeah.
And all the memory stack was filled up with 256K DIN, like actual chips. So like 16-pin chips. So that had about, I don't know, 2 meg of memory or something made up of all these 16-pin chips. And it had 2 big graphics chip things in the middle of it. I can't remember what brand it was. I want to say it was Trident too, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it was like that thing. I reckon it drew half of the power of the whole computer, and that was only displaying. That was my 386. I think that was only doing 800 by 600. I think at 256 colors. That was like
Windows 3.11.
Yep.
I think I had a Matrox at one stage. That sounds familiar.
Matrix Millennium. Yep.
Yeah, Matrox was great.
Matrix Millenniums. They were the first real punchy 3D card. They run open 3D. Opal 3D. And that's what, like, it's a lot of the early games like Need for Speed and that, the actual true 3D games. Need for Speed, Quake, a few of those. That's actually what they used.
And then Voodoo was really important for a while, wasn't it?
Voodoo was massive. That was when the like you could run. That was the step up. Like Matrix Millennium wasn't a bad card, but it was still an 800 by 600 at 16,000 color card. Once the Voodoo card come out, it was, like a 16 meg card now instead of a 4 meg card. So suddenly you're doing 1024 by 768 at one point, at a million colors, 1.2 million colors, whatever it was. And like it was the benchmark for 2 or 3 years. The Voodoo card was the benchmark card. It was impressive.
3D FX Voodoo.
I think it was the first of the PCI cards. because I think the Matrix Millennium was still an ISA, so the Voodoo was the first of the PCI. The Trident 3D was a PCI card too, but it was an Opal GL, so it wasn't that powerful, even though it was probably the most common card.
Yeah.
And then once AGP,
Yeah.
once AGP came out, that was
We
where
had
it all,
Visa was in there somewhere too, wasn't it?
the Visa, well,
cards.
the Matrix and the Voodoo were in Visa as well, I think later on. And then the AGP stuff came out, and you could get a bog standard cheap, out of the box. That was
S3.
or whatever Trident. And it was a 16 meg or a 32 meg card straight up.
Yeah.
So suddenly all these other cards were old news. You'd run a Sound Blaster Live PCI and an AGP 16 meg card, and you could play anything on a Pentium, even a Pentium 100. You could play anything at full resolution for the next 2 years.
I always wanted to Gravis Ultrasound was going to be the thing, and all the demo writers did it and stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to get a Gravis Ultrasound. I was this close to getting it one time, but I always ended up with a Sound Blaster Live 16 or something.
The Gravis Ultrasound was for music professionals.
Yeah.
So if you were into music and you were doing MIDI sampling, it was the card. It was zero latency, zero error, like perfect sound reproduction. So for MIDI playback and MIDI capture, it was on the ball. But in terms of a gaming card, it was actually useless. There was a lot of games supported it. Like you can go through Duke 3D and that you look at the menu and it was there, but it never really worked as a gaming card, as a mainstream card, mainly because it's so bloody expensive.
Yeah, that was my problem.
They were. Yeah, well, I mean, when you're paying, you'd pay $80 for a Sound Blaster 16 or $100 for Sound Blaster 32, or the Sound Blaster Pro. You get the Creative Labs single speed CD-ROM with the Sound Blaster Pro card that worked together on a reverse IDE interface. It was $250 or something, but it was one of the first 5.1 surround sounds. I had the double DIN header thing, and I had the remote control and you can actually put a music CD in the CD player as long as the computer was on. It didn't have to be in Windows. It could just be physically turned on, sitting at the post screen, and you could play audio CDs directly through the CD-ROM through the sound card.
Memories like the corner of my eye. Should we do some news?
I suppose.
Are you able to share screens?
Nope. I'm lucky if this laptop does anything at all.
Right, I might have to superimpose an image over your face in a minute. Xiaomi. We love Xiaomi, right?
Mimics.
Xiaomi have been teasing the Mi Mix Alpha for a while now.
Yeah.
At one stage, many thought it would be their foldable phone. Turns out it wasn't. And the Mi Mix Alpha is actually a display with a small strip of body at the back. Yes, we've seen waterfall displays in recent times, showing the display wrapping down the edges of the phones, but it seems that Xiaomi have gone one step further and produced a phone that's display doesn't wrap around the sides of the phone, but all the way around the back, covering most of the rear of the phone. The only part of the rear that does not cover is a small strip which houses the rear camera. Or is that the front-facing camera now? It's just the camera. There's no front or back. It's just the camera.
It's just the what is it? 180 megapixel camera.
Yeah, the display is a surround screen that ends in a display to body ratio of 180.6%. Yes, greater than 100% of the three. Not sure how that works, but maybe we'll need to start talking about the body to screen ratio now. We're not sure of the feasibility and accidental touch rejection of this new display, although it's present apparently, but boy does it look cool. There are no physical buttons, but instead pressure-sensitive buttons on the side of the phone along with the status icons. That strip on the rear of the phone houses a triple camera. I assume it's the rear camera, but with the display it's all the way around. It could also work as front-facing. Does that mean we just call it a camera? Yeah, it will most likely result in the best selfies we've ever seen. The camera includes the new Samsung 108 megapixel lens, which uses a 2.2 pixel matrix for better low light sensitivity and produce 27 megapixel images. Inside the phone does not disappoint either, with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus processor, including its 5G capabilities, 12 gig of RAM, and 512 gig of onboard storage. The 4050 milliamp hour battery can be charged using a 40-watt fast wired fast charging adapter. The battery size and charging speed does not seem sufficient for a device that's basically all display, unless Xiaomi have some magical unicorn dust in there where a bright display does not kill battery like it does on every other device out there. But man, does it look pretty.
But they've always had long battery life in their phones.
You've always been espousing how great Xiaomi is, haven't you?
Yeah, look, their R&D department must be, on meth or something. Like, it's insane how they,
they're in bad, Kai.
Oh, but I mean, okay, it's a 108 megapixel camera. But the front camera.
No, the camera. There's no front or back anymore.
It has a front camera as well. The front camera is a 20 megapixel ultra wide. And the back one, but it also has a 2x optical. So it's actually got an optical zoom as well as a digital zoom. Like,
it's just mad. It's like $4,000, but
2,800 US. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's like the new iPhone, isn't it?
Yeah, they're only doing a few hundred prototypes of it, and it probably won't be something that they'll sell many of. I mean,
it's definitely not mainstream.
I wanted to get the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and I went to my local Telstra. They're like, we're not going to stock it. Nobody in this little town can afford one of those things. And if they did, we don't have 5G, which it has anyway for another 5 or 10 years. So we're not even going to bother having it in our store. But we got posters everywhere saying, check out the new 5G that's not here and won't be. But I still would like to get a Fold now that they supposedly fixed it and it doesn't fall to bits every time you close it.
But I think, but basically all they're doing is just saying, hey, look, we're a small Chinese company and we can do this. So I don't want to hear it when iPhone goes, hey, look, we've given you an extra camera.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what they're saying. They're like, what's your point?
3 cameras.
Yeah, we could have done that too, but we've just fixed the entire system. But the fact they're using they've gone back to a full 1-inch sensor rather than the 1/4-inch sensor. So that's why the images, plus their low light images their low light images have always been good, but this really just bumps it up another level, So it's
Did you see the animation on the web page of when you plug in the charger and the whole screen basically lights up and it has this green light zooming across the top, the sides, the bottom is all filling up until it gets to the end, and then it's just all green screen and switches off.
Yeah, it's it's gimmick. I give you that, it's a gimmick, but if you take the gimmick aspect out of it and you look at the underlying hardware involved in that, it's an insane piece of hardware.
Yeah.
Between the amazing camera, the amazing processing, like the processor and the memory in that thing is way above anything else that's on the market. The camera's ridiculous. I think I was reading somewhere it does 4K. I think it was 4K, 120 frames a second.
Yeah.
Like, so it can be used for slow-mo, like, and then at a normal HD, it does 600 frames a second or something ridiculous. So it can be used for, slow-mo. It can be used for professional quality video.
You shoot a movie on it.
You could. And there's enough storage on it that would actually be feasible.
Yeah.
And hey, it still has removable storage. So you can throw another 256 gig SD card in it.
Well, they're going to have 1 terabyte card soon. They've got them in some formats.
They have. Look, when it comes to memory cards, never buy the biggest one.
No.
Always buy 2 below the biggest, because that's your most reliable.
Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time.
You will, and it's been proven over the years. Hard drives are exactly the same. Never buy the biggest hard drive. And basically what it comes down to, and they still do this with memory cards and processors. I don't know if they still do it with hard drives, but especially Intel developed this back in the early Pentium days. every Pentium chip was made as a Pentium 200 chip.
Yeah.
And then what they would do is they would durability test it and benchmark it to the point of failure and mark it down one.
Yep.
So if it was supposed to build as a Pentium 200 chip, it tested at a 166, they'd call it their 150.
Yep.
And that way, you could easily clock it up to the next level without having a problem. But what that meant was that the 200 chips were 8 times the price of a 150 chip because not that many of them made it there. And memory cards to this day are still done exactly the same way. They make them all as the biggest memory chip. So they make them all as a 1 terabyte chip or whatever. And then they test them down to where they fail and drop them down one.
Yep.
So if you go 2 below the top rung, you're basically guaranteed to have a reliable chip.
Yep.
So that's but that's why the price jumps up so much. Not necessarily the fact you're buying new technology, it's the fact that the failure rate of creating that new technology is greater, so that is a more rare product.
Okay.
So
what do you
now everyone says I bag out Apple all the time, which okay, I do. But
it's funny because it's true.
But there's one feature I was unaware that the Apple Watch had, and from what my research has told me, the Android one doesn't have. The Apple Watch feature saves the lives of a biker after a fatal accident.
Oh, I read that.
Yeah. The fall detection facility on Apple Watch Series 4 has saved the life once again. The latest story is of a man from Spokane in Washington State who thanked Apple Watch for saving his father's life after a fatal accident. Gabe shared his Apple Watch experience on Facebook. He and his father had plans to go on a mountain bike ride together. While waiting for his father, Gabe received a message from his father's Apple Watch saying that it detected a hard fall. Apple's Watch shared the location of the map of the hard fall with Gabe. Apple Watch Series 4 and later versions have this built-in fall detection feature. Once Gabe reached the side of the fall, he got another update. His father location changed to Sacred Heart Medical Center. Dad flipped his bike at the bottom of Doomsday Hill, hit his head, and was knocked out until sometime during the ambulance ride. Apple Watch had also called 911 with his location. EMS had him scooped up in a hospital in under half an hour.
Nice.
Apple's fall detection feature detects sudden falls and impacts and calls emergency services if the person does not dismiss the alert within 1 minute of falling. If the user has already filled the emergency contact, it will send a text message to them as well with a map of the watch's location of the sudden fall. And this is exactly what happened. Gabe said his father was doing well after the incident.
That's pretty mad.
That's fantastic. I was unaware that was a feature, and I don't remember even reading about that anywhere in any of the feature lists that they released. But to have that fall feature is fantastic. I mean, there are, for elderly people, fall bracelets and stuff you can get, but
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, pretty much. But this would take the place of that. And the fact that it's like those bracelets only work in the house, and then when they trigger, the landline calls somebody to help.
Yep.
The fact that this works everywhere sends not only the emergency services, sends them a location of where you are, but also sends another person a location of where you are. I mean, could you imagine? This was in the city, so it wasn't as bad. But if you were out in the middle of nowhere, you're bushwalking or hiking or whatever, and you do that.
Cliff. I was reading last week where a guy broke his leg and he had to carry his leg for 2 days as he dragged himself back to civilization.
Okay, obviously it's not going to work where there's no phone signal, but
yeah.
The fact that this is implemented as a standard feature, I'm curious to know how many people actually know about it. As I said, I didn't know it was a thing. I haven't seen it advertised or marketed anywhere, and I know a few people who have it and who have the watch, and I've asked them and they knew nothing of it. So
we have to say, because the Apple Watch has actually got its own phone SIM in it, it can act like a mini phone itself, and you can talk to people on it and answer phone calls and stuff, because you don't have to have your phone with you. The SIM is put into it.
It does sync seamlessly with your phone, whether it's through Wi-Fi or the mobile network. It will sync, and all your activities cross over between them, and it's effectively like having one device. But That's right. It's an independent device, as opposed to most other ones. But I mean, either way, even if it wasn't, even if it was still tethered to your phone, you had to have your phone on. The chances of you having your phone,
Yeah.
if you've got a watch on, you're going to have your phone on. So, but it's still a really great idea. That I have to admit, I'm glad that that's a thing, and it's, I guess, the next level for other manufacturers to look at now as well. Something they need to implement. Because there is a segment of the market who would buy it by default, as I was saying before, especially elderly people or whatever who are naturally a fall or trip hazard. But just to have that for the general public, it's not a bad thing. Although I don't know if our emergency services here are set up to receive that sort of information.
Don't know. They need to look into it though. I should use a segue to do a quick promotion of. I've got a new Fitbit Versa 2 watch, didn't I? It's got Alexa built into it, which is pretty cool. It's not listening all the time, so you don't have to worry about your conversations being recorded. You have to actually hold down the left button, and then I'll activate Alexa, and then you'll say, turn off the bedroom light, and it works with my LIFX lights. I can wake up in the middle of the night and just press a button on there and say, turn on the light, which is all Dick Tracy and stuff, which is pretty cool. You can ask it about the weather, tell it to remind you to buy some milk later, ask it how's your Fitbit stats going, and I'll report back that. But it all comes on the screen. It doesn't have a speaker, so you're not going to interrupt meetings or other people in the office. It'll just come up on the screen with the answers.
Alexa, how's my Fitbit thing? You're not going to interrupt anybody at all.
And then, all sorts of things. You can set timers. You can reply to messages. If someone sends you a text, you're like, are you going to be doing that thing tonight? You can hold down the reply with Alexa and go, yep, tell them I'll be there, and I'll send it through as a text message and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. I had the Ionic when it first came out, and I was very excited by that. And then the Versa and the Versa Lite came out, and I was like, not really my thing. But then the Versa 2 came out with that feature, and I was like, yeah, I really want to get one of those. So I grabbed it, and yeah, it's very nice. I'm really loving it. So get yourself a Versa, Fitbit Versa 2.
Yeah, I don't even have the first one. But I mean, I've got 3 Google Minis now, and I find they do. I'm actually finding more and more things that they do.
Yeah. I got Google Mini here. There's one in my daughter's room. There's one in the office. There's a Google Home, the bigger one with the really nice speaker with the bass and everything in the lounge room. So most of the time when I'm working, I'm just like, okay, thingamabob. I'm not going to say it because they're going to activate, and so will yours. Play whatever station that I listen to, Sanctuary Radio Retro 80s, and plays it. Lovely bass, fills up the whole house with sound. It's fantastic.
Well, I've actually hacked mine because I've got the minis and they've got a crappy speaker, and I've actually hacked mine to play through the stereos.
You can get them to play through any Bluetooth too if you sync it up.
You can, but that's a 5-minute job to get them to hook them up to. I've got to do a video on it. All the videos I've seen for people doing this, they pull the entire thing apart, and it takes them like an hour to do it, to hack it, to make it work on a stereo. You literally undo the 2 screws off the back of it, open it up, and you can grab the wires with a pair of tweezers and grab them and then cut them and strip them, and you can get it from there. It's literally a 5-minute job. It's not hard at all. I don't know. People seem to make it so much more complicated than it is. But if you've got a Mini, it really pays to put it onto a decent stereo because the sound is crap. It's okay if it's just reading a recipe or whatever. I bought all mine second hand, and 2 of the 3 of them, the speakers were blown out when I got them. So people have always been listening to music on full ball, and they've destroyed the speakers. So
it hasn't blown out their earballs.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't realise they had a nightlight feature either. You can tell it to play the nightlight, and it runs through a sequence that plays a bedtime nursery rhyme, and all the lights does a flashy thing like got up against the wall. It changes colours and stuff.
Oh yeah, you can ask it to read a kids a bedtime story and stuff too.
Only if you've got them in your Google library.
Well,
sucks. So it works through the Google Play library.
Suppose they got copyrights and stuff.
No, there is free ones on there. Like I've downloaded like Three Little Pigs and a few of the other ones, and they are free to download. And it'll play those. Audiobooks are a little bit more difficult. I need to start it on my phone or on my tablet, and then I need to cast it across to it.
Yep.
And once it's cast across, it'll play, but you can't initiate the playing of it from the device, which is annoying. But that's Amazon, because Amazon has the rights to that, so they obviously don't want. That's their one up on Google, see, because you can play audiobooks directly from Alexa, but you can't do it from Google. So, so that's one of the reasons they do that. But you can still cast to it, which is pretty cool. And if you've got, I'm actually setting up a Google Home one that I saw a guy do using a API and a few bits and pieces, and you can turn a Windows media server or Windows computer, which I'm running as a media server, into a Google Home hub, a Google Hub.
Oh, yeah, like the screen, yeah.
Yeah, so then you can use it to do all your things you'd normally do, ask Google for, but you can also cast stuff to it. So if you're watching YouTube on your phone, you can cast it across onto that.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of new smart TVs do, but not everybody's running that. And my smart TV does it if it's in that mode, but if I'm watching the PC side of it to watch something already, it doesn't allow casting. So I've got to switch the TV, which I never do. It never leaves. The TV is always on that setting, so I don't even know what the TV remote is.
I've got TCL TV. It doesn't have any Chrome stuff built in there, but if I bring up a movie on my Samsung phone, Samsung's got a center TV, or mirror to TV, really. It mirrors what's on the screen and sends it to whatever TV is on your home network, and I can watch stuff there.
That's what I've got. Probably got the same as you, because mine's a TCL, and it's actually got a decent app too. But the same thing, the TV's got to be in a certain mode. It won't do it in all modes.
Yep.
Mine won't do it when I'm watching the computer through it. It won't let me cast to it. I was a bit annoyed actually when I bought this TV. It supposedly had Android on it.
Oh.
It technically does, but it's such a locked-down, hacked version of Android that you can't do anything with it.
I was annoyed with mine because I got mine, and the TCL store has got apps you can put on, like was it ABC iView and SBS Catch Up and stuff. But the model that came out the year after the exact same thing, but next year's model has Netflix. You can't get it on this year's model because they want you to buy a brand new TV less than 6 months after you bought this one, which will have Netflix on it, but you can't install it. So I'm just like, well, I've got a PlayStation. I'll plug that in where you go. You could buy a Roku thing or Google Cast or anything. Why are you going to sell $700 50-inch TV just so you can get Netflix? Just put it in the TCL store, people. Who cares?
They won't let you update the firmware.
Nope.
I think I've got exactly the same. We'll have to, after the show, I'll have to compare models. I think I've got exactly the same model as yours, because I have exactly the same problem. I have actually discovered recently that there is a firmware hack too. So
gotta give it a go. Let me know if you blow up your TV, and then I'll see if I can do mine.
I got accidental damage. I'm fine. What happened to you? Well, I was trying to hack my TV.
Hackers got into it. They came in through the matrix.
My TV got hacked.
Well, all of this sounds like a really good segue into next story. If you're an Apple Music subscriber on an Android device, there's good news. Apple has finally added Chromecast support on its Apple Music Android app. I didn't even know there was an Apple Music Android app, so that's one ahead of me.
I know, right?
To use the functionality, you need a device running Android 5.0 or later, hopefully later, or a Chromebook with Android apps along with a device to cast to. If you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network on both your streaming device and your target speaker, the cast icon should show up on the Apple Music app. Playback is then controlled from the app as normal, but playing through your Chromecast device. Also featuring in the new Apple Music update is an app-wide dark mode, which should prevent the app from burning out your retinas with the normal white background during a late-night listening session. It's been a long wait, but if you're like me, you've already moved away from Apple Music to a service that has supported Chromecast for much longer, but streaming Apple Music to Chromecast is a welcome change. If you're an iPhone owner with Apple Music and a Chromecast, It looks like you're still unable to stream your music to it directly, but seems
Yep.
like a change would come eventually. That TV back there you can see has got a Chromecast TV thing plugged into the HDMI, so
Yeah, they're not a bad idea, and they've come down so much. They're only like $30 now, so they're definitely worth buying.
when I first heard of it, I'm like, who wants to watch a video on your phone and then send it to the TV? Why don't you just get a device to plug in the TV that's got Netflix? Or I'd start watching Netflix on my phone and send, who's going to do that? Now I
Then
do.
you realise
So
you're doing how much you do. So, well, on the upside, Google responds to Apple by allowing dark mode in Gmail now.
yeah, I saw that, but I can't enable it on my Android phone. There's no Gmail
I
update that had.
I have disabled it. It is so annoying.
Is it?
I don't like it at all. No, I went back to the normal one. I
I've
mean,
uploaded most of
it's
my stuff.
cool. It's cool, but I'm not going to use it. I was just looking. Yeah, Apple Music is on here. I was actually just looking at it. So there you go. I didn't
I
even know that
probably
was a
got
thing.
like free Apple Music subscription for 2 months with my phone or Telstra account or something that I've never tried because
I did.
Spotify.
I know I've had a few iTunes cards. I'm like, why? I don't have it. Why would I want that?
Yeah, I used to buy
It's like,
music on iTunes, which you don't get because that's not Apple Music. That's iTunes Music, which is separate. The Apple Music one's a
yeah,
subscription that's got the
that's right.
encryption and stuff still on it, but the iTunes Music you can download and it's fully decrypted. You can convert it to MP3 or whatever and do what you want with it. So that's the one I like. If I wanted to get another song, I could buy it there, but I've got the Spotify's, so I listen to stuff on there or stream through my Google Home with what is it? TuneIn Radio or iHeartRadio if it's on that network, but most of my
Mm,
stuff's on TuneIn. Oh,
well,
it's bright. Apple Music. Look at
yeah.
that.
2-star rating, mind you.
Oh, of course it is. Is that because it's Apple? Even if it worked properly, they'd still give it 2 stars out of 5 because it's Apple, right?
Yeah, probably. Speaking of data breaches. Anyway, speaking of data breaches, surprise, surprise, another dating app has leaked users' personal data, phones, locations, and more. Who would have thought? These dating apps have been so secure up until now.
Right.
So the latest one is Heyo, Heyyo.
Hey yo.
It has made the same mistake thousands of companies have made before it. Namely, they left the server exposed on the internet without a password.
How often have we heard that story, kids?
This leaky server and an Elasticsearch instance exposed the personal details. Nothing worse than
I was going to say, is it going to be an Amazon AWS server? Of course it is.
Elasticsearch, yeah. Exposed the personal details, images, location, data, phone numbers, and dating preferences for nearly 72,000 users, believed to be the app's entire database.
Oh, God.
The leaky server was brought to ZDNet's attention last week by security researchers from WizCase, who asked us to help investigate its security incident after we verified the data's authenticity by contacting some of the users whose phone numbers were included in the... Now, then it goes on saying how they verified users, and then now we've reached out to Heyo to notify them of the problem.
Right.
So a security firm contacted ZDNet, who then verified the security firm's findings and then decided to actually talk to the company and say, hey, you've got a problem.
Good on you, ZDNet.
The Istanbul-based software company behind the app failed to respond to our inquiry for nearly a week. And the leaky server was only taken down today after ZDNet reached out yesterday to Turkey's computer emergency response team. Ooh. During the time it took us to secure the server, Heyo's backend leaked some of the most sensitive type of information. Great. Now they got a leaky backend. The breadth of the leaked information is staggering. All Heyo data was available on the company's us to such server, including names, phone numbers, email addresses, date of birth, gender, height, profile pics, images, Facebook IDs, Instagram IDs, longitude, latitude, who liked your profile, like profiles, dislike profiles, super like profiles, block profiles, dating preferences, registration and last active date, and smartphone details.
Jeez.
So
nothing important or sensitive. Just everything.
Yeah, it's but the thing was like the company's like, oh well. Whatever.
Shit happens, man. What am I going to do about it?
You used our app, it's your problem.
All you have to do now is change your name, your phone number, your birth date, your social security number.
Your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile.
I now go by the name of Fred Wilkins.
Could be worse, I suppose.
Hi,
Just a
Fred,
quick
if you're
update.
listening.
Huawei, I can never say their name properly.
Huawei.
Highway?
My way or the
That's it.
highway?
Well, yeah, I can say my way or the highway. They expect to sell 20 million Mate 30 Pro. So Mate 30 Pro is just like a mid-level Android phone. It's the last of their Android phones. Now, they had sold them and then they halted sales when the US government went weird. But they've now put them back on the market, but they've including a bootloader. So now that they're not allowed to include the Google apps with Android, even though they're allowed to include Android, they can't put the Google apps on it. But they now give you a bootloader and a HTML link to go to get the Google apps that they're allowed to provide on the phone, but you can download them and install them.
Is that like Night for Android?
Well, it's like, remember when we used to do Clockwork Orange and stuff, we used to change the version, put a CyEngine mod or whatever on. You were never allowed to include the Gmail and the Play Store and Google Docs. You weren't allowed to include that in the CyEngine mod. But once you install the CyEngine mod, you would then just click on the link and you would install all the other Google stuff. Well, it's exactly the same, except this time it's just coming directly from the manufacturer. Here's our latest firmware, and you can welcome, and that's on the phone. And have this program here, which will let you just get everything else that Google said you couldn't have.
Problem solved. I saw that the US companies are looking for $1 billion to replace all the Huawei stuff around America. That's going to take a long time.
Well, no, because now they've just allowed Huawei back in again to supply them as long as they don't feel that there's a security issue.
Well, this was a story I read today, that they're looking to replace all the Huawei equipment in networks with something else.
There was an investigation and a study done to do it, but once they realised how much it was going to cost, they went, no, it's okay. You guys are back in. You know, as long as we don't see any security issues, you're welcome.
Just because your president hates Chinese people, come on.
I don't think he had much to do with the banning of it in the first place, to be honest.
Woolworth's Scan and Go app has been tested at Pitt Street Metro. You need to install the Scan and Go application on your phone and then set it up when you enter the store. Then open the app and it will prompt you to switch Bluetooth on if needed. When you enter the store with the app open and Bluetooth on, it recognises which store you're in using location services. Whether you get fresh food or shelf products, you need to scan the barcode on the price tag, and for fresh food you also need to weigh it. Once you've scanned all the products you want with your phone, head to the self-checkout area and look for the Scan and Go terminal. Scan the QR code on your screen and it will process the payment, and a receipt will be emailed to you, and it's also available in the Scan and Go app to look at later. So this is like what they did with Amazon Go in the US, where you could just walk into the store, grab everything you want off the shelf, walk off, and it also automatically charge your Amazon account. And they're trying it with Woolworths Scan and Go. So there goes a checkout, chicks. Sorry, you lost your job.
I mean, they've had it in like Amsterdam and places like that for a long time. It's not new. The only thing I don't know how it works, I think it might get confused if you like put ginger in a mushroom bag and put it through as a mushroom because it's cheaper.
I remember seeing this scam where a lady bought a heap of boxes of instant noodles cut out all the barcodes, and then she went shopping and bought everything and just scanned.
Yeah,
You
for the
bought
barcode.
40 packets of instant noodles today, and you have a look at the bag. Hang on, what's all this other stuff? No, they're
Yeah,
all instant noodles too. See, the barcode said so. See if it's going to
yeah.
be the
Look,
same thing.
it's. I mean, yeah. It really is a case of keeping the honest people honest. The people who want to score and scam the system, it's going to be so easy to do.
Yep. They're going to have
Um,
cameras, sure, but someone has to look at
yeah,
them
but
afterwards.
well, that's right. They have to not only have just figured out that you've done it, they then have to figure out when you did it and see if they can find you doing it. I showed a staff member at Bunnings the other day. Like I was looking at I need to get some box steel for a job I was doing, and they had their main, like as Bunnings do, have their self-service checkouts open.
Yep.
And I had 50 mil box steel, like 4 meter length, and then inside that I had a 40 mil. Inside that I had a 25, and then I had a 10 mil round bar inside that. This is all stuff I was going to buy anyway.
Yep.
And I walked through the self-serve checkout, and I just scanned the 50 mil thing and paid for it.
Yep.
And then when I got to the door where they check your receipt, she goes, "Oh yeah, you're good to go." I said, "Well, I'm not really." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I showed her, and I pulled out like 4 other bars out of the center of this thing. And she's like, "Oh." I'm like, well, there's like $500 worth of materials I've just paid $80 for.
Yeah.
I was happy to go back and pay for it because I had intended to in the first place. But I'm
That's
like,
good
not
test.
only did I get through the self-service part of it, I then got through the part where they check the receipt as well, because at the self-service, like if a cashier had have picked it up,
Yep.
it weighed 5 times more than it should have weighed. So it would have been incredibly obvious that there was other stuff shoved inside it.
Yep.
But because nobody physically touched this object and I just scanned it through the checkout, they had no idea what was in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, seriously. So, okay, you're saving somebody's. The thing is, that's a junior's wage for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Gone in one transaction. So, are you really saving money?
No.
So, but anyway. I don't know. I mean, I like it because I don't like talking to people, so I'm happy to.
Same. I always do that at Coles. I go through the self-checkout. Unexpected item in baggage area. Take it out.
Yeah,
Put it back. What? Can we start
that's
again?
the worst. Actually, so many places have disabled that now because it just doesn't work. The Big W I go to, the Kmart I go to, who else has it? The Bunnings, the IGA I go to, they've all got that disabled because it just does not work. They're like, yeah, we're just going to assume you put it there. So Australians are reporting cybercrime activities once every 10 minutes.
Oh.
So Australians are reaching out to the National Cybercrime Reporting Program more than ever, but there's still many incidents going unreported. According to the head of Australian Cybersecurity Centre, Rachel Noble, since their organisation assumed responsibility for what's previously known as the Australian Cybercrime Online Reporting Network, so it's gone from ACORN to ASCO. On July 1st, it received about 1 report every 10 minutes. Now, the funny thing is, like, you go through and you read all this report, and potentially billions of dollars scammed out of the economy every year, and blah blah blah. They say, when was this? 2017. Apparently, there was $2.3 billion stolen if you added all the reports up. But by the time they got around to investigating them and working out which ones were legitimate and which ones were actual real transactions that the customer had just forgotten about, it was only $53,000.
Ah, that's a bit of a difference.
So 2.3 billion or 53,000. Like, really? And they're saying that they still estimate there's $2.1 billion per year is the estimated impact. So basically what they're saying is the people who are being scammed aren't reporting it, and the people who are legitimately just screwing up are reporting it.
Right.
So it's
They're reporting themselves, or?
Well, like, I'll give you an example. At work, our company's Battery Central, but our FPOS says Brunel Proprietary Limited because that's
Trading as and
the
stuff.
company that we're trading as. And we can't change that because Brunel is the company where the bank accounts are held. So that's what's on the FPOS.
Yeah.
So you'll get somebody who pays over the phone, for example. And then when they get their statement a month later, they look at it and go, Brunel, I didn't order anything from Brunel. I don't know who they are. So then they ring they ring up their credit card company, who then reverses the transaction. Instead of ringing us first and going, hey, who are you and why is this a thing? And can you show us the invoice? They reverse the transaction, send us the reversal, and then we have to dispute the reversal by sending them the information. It's such a stupid freaking idea, but these are the sort of people who are ringing up going, I've been ripped off $165. No, you haven't. You've just forgotten that you bought that battery.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Number
this
of
is what
times I'll look at my receipts and go, what the heck is that company and what did I buy for 75? I guess I must have bought something from somewhere, but I don't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
It's trading as something else. And
that's it, exactly. And if you've been physically there, Google's great for that because it tracks your every move. You go back to that date on your Google and you look through your phone and you see exactly where you were and the timestamp. You go, oh, that's where I was.
So let Google track you wherever you are because it helps.
Yeah, pretty much. It does. But this is what they're saying. Like the people who are being screwed out of their money don't realize they're being screwed out of their money, so they're not reporting it.
Yeah.
The people who think they're being screwed out of their money actually aren't, and so when they report it, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So lucky we're spending millions of dollars a year on this, cybercrime security center because they're clearly helping.
Yeah, well, it's like, when with the Fitbit app stuff and you sell through PayPal, somebody goes, oh, I decided I didn't want that clock face that I paid 99 cents of, so I'm going to raise a fraud dispute with PayPal. And then they contact us and say, this is fraud. You're like, no, they typed in their PayPal details into a website, or their whole credit card and their expiry date and the CVC into PayPal's website accidentally, apparently, and now they want the 99 cents back. So PayPal says, because this was a fraud investigation, we're going to charge you $35.
Yeah.
So we can give that guy back his 99 cents, which is really, really important to him because he just changed his mind.
Yeah. Instead of just going, hey, can I have a refund?
Which I would do.
Yeah.
I'm not that big of an a-hole, even though some... What?
But I mean, even, okay... The thing is, it's not like you, on a 99-cent transaction, it's not like you even make 99 cents. You make 80-odd cents on a 99-cent transaction, then they want a refund, so you give them that 99 cents back, which also costs... So you actually lose $1 on a 99-cent transaction. The system's so messed up. It's horrible.
Oh, I got one more nice one to go out with. If you want to hear Samuel L. Jackson's voice coming out of your Amazon smart speaker, you'll be able to. Jackson's voice will be available thanks to Neural Text-to-Speech. Amazon's David Limp said Wednesday. Neural Text-to-Speech will be able to mimic celebrities' voices with their permission. Enabling Jackson will cost 99 cents. The CNET's Ben Fox-Rubin noted it's not clear if the cost is per celebrity, but the future will roll out later this year. So if you want Samuel L. Jackson to tell you to go the F to sleep, or I'm sick of all these mother effing things on this mother effing plane and stuff like that, then sure, you can have him talk out of your Amazon device.
Monkey footballs.
But the deep fake stuff, that's crazy nuts. They can mimic anyone's voice and also now their face, so they can make realistic videos that look like someone's saying
live.
Yeah.
But they can do it live, and there's no delay in it. It's done
I want to see
live.
the new Max Headroom using that. That would be awesome. I loved him back in the day. He wasn't computer generated, but a guy in a suit that they only showed you every couple of frames of him moving around and some funky retro neon lines behind his head.
Yeah, Max Headroom was cool. The thing is, this is why I had a Garmin back in the day, because you could get different
celebrity voices.
I had like Darth Vader, I had Stewie, I had a few of them. It was pretty cool, but
and you could record your own. I did a whole recording of myself and put it in the GPS. And then I picked up my daughter from the airport when she was about 8 years old or something. We hopped in the car and it's got, okay, turn left in 100 meters. She's like, Daddy's in the GPS map. Daddy's in the map. Oh, wow, that's Daddy. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's switch back to the normal one because I don't want to hear me for the next 4 hours driving. Nobody wants to hear me for the next 4 hours. 1 hour in a podcast, bad enough.
Bob does that with the Google Assist for maps. He's like, where's that lady speaking from? I can't. Where is she? I can hear her, but I can't see her.
She's in the boot, son.
I said, she's the GPS. She tells us where to go. Yes, but where is she?
Wait till he gets a bit older and he's like, Daddy, I'll tell you where to go.
Well, he knows now because even though I haven't programmed his voice into Google yet, I've programmed mine in and songs in because it makes the devices just work better. We haven't done it with him yet. He sits there, he looks up at his Google Home, he's like, Google, play music. Google, play music. He says it 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times and eventually it actually does. And he's like, woohoo!
That was one of the reasons why I had bought all Alexa Amazon stuff. And I was staying in Melbourne in a motel, and I got back to the motel room and I messaged friends of mine who are tech journalists, and they're like, actually, the Google would be better because it can distinguish between voices in Australia.
Yeah.
In the US, Amazon Echoes can, Alexa and all that, but they don't have that feature in Australia. So if you say, okay, what's my calendar today? And it just tell you whatever was the calendar that's on there. But the Google Homes, you could say, what's on my calendar? And it knows my calendar compared to my daughter's calendar. And it can tell who's who talking, which is great.
Yeah, it is good. Like, especially when you're doing nighttime routines and stuff like that. It can tell who's the routine's for and whatever. You don't need to say, start bed one routine stuff. You just say, good night, and that starts the routine.
I like how also it's location sensitive. Like I've got a speaker in this room and I can just say turn the light out. It knows to turn out this light here because it's in the same group. If I'm in the lounge room, I can just say turn on the light and it turns on the lounge room light. It doesn't turn on any others. But if you say, if it's playing music and the light's on in the lounge and you say, okay, stop and turn the light off, it'll stop playing the music and then turn off 3 lights in the house.
Yeah, because if you use the stop command, it turns off all the devices.
Well, stop is for the audio.
Yeah,
I can't say, okay, stop and it'll turn the light off. But if you say stop and something else, The
stop command is for all devices. So if you say stop playing, it'll stop playing whether you're casting, whether you got one where it'll stop all of them from doing it. You can actually specify which you can change that command to specify which
Well, it's not the stop that I'm worried about. If I say stop, it'll stop the music on that device. But if I say stop and turn off the light, it turns off 3 lights. Yeah.
It treats it as one command, so it thinks it's just used talking about the whole lot. Yeah. You can change that in the setup. I discovered.
I've got follow up enabled on them, so I could say stop, and then I'll stop it, and then say turn the light off without having to use the OK command, and then I'll do the second command because it is still waiting in case you're saying something else to it.
Yeah,
which is cool.
There's also one that's in development, but I've got it on my phone. It is a little flaky. It's a follow me. So if I'm playing music in here and I walk into the computer room, it knows I've changed rooms by the location of my phone, and it changes where it's playing the music.
Oh, sweet. How do I get that?
I'll show you later.
It's a thing.
It's a work in progress. Like it's an APK that you got to download. Like you can't get it from the store. You got to uninstall trusted apps. You got to know how to do a bit of stuff like that. So
it sounds like a lot of trouble.
It will eventually be a legit app, but it's just trial at the moment.
Yeah.
It's the same as the Nightlight one. It's a trial app at the moment as well.
Yep.
So just one thing quickly that I think is very cool, and I never backed it because I didn't have the money, but I always wanted to. I don't know if you're aware of Simone. Gertz, I think her name is. She's like, she's from like, I can't think, like, not like Germany, but like Austria, that sort of. She's from over there somewhere.
Yep.
But she has developed what she calls the everyday calendar. So it eliminates the need of having a paper calendar. It's a digital. You hang it on the wall. It's a digital calendar, and it has obviously all the months, and then it has all the days listed. So when you wake up in the morning, you can walk up to it and you just press the button for the day, and it turns on that day. So it's like flicking the page in a calendar, but it's just a reminder of what the day and the date is.
She's Swedish.
Swedish, there you go. I knew something like that. And it's like $300, so it's not cheap, but it looks absolutely awesome. Like, it's just I'm hopeless with calendars. Like, my calendar's like 3 months out of date. So for me, something like this, and especially too, they one of the things I saw them doing was there was somebody who was they'd take tablets every night, and so what they would do is they'd get in the habit of walking in, and then when they it worked both ways. When they pressed the button, it reminded them to take their tablets, or if they took their tablets, it reminded them to press the button. So it can be used for muscle memory and stuff like that as well.
She's got a Patreon called Simone Gertz is Creating Shitty Robots.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. She's and if you actually look at she released a video update on this today, and she's like, oh, we hate asking for money, and this was supposed to be released in March, and we know it's taken so long, but we've got really good backers. And here, look, just to prove it to you, I made a sorry sign out of macaroni, and she holds up a macaroni. So I'm like, she's got a really good sense. She created she's the one who did the Tesla Ute.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about that.
Yeah, she
wanted one and they wouldn't give it to her, so she's like, screw it, I'll make one myself, and then...
Yeah, basically. She's good value, like, she's good to watch her YouTube stuff, but I think this is just I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a simple tactile touch button thing, but it looks really cool, and I just like that, I reckon that hanging up on the wall would just be awesome.
It says her first inspirational character was Gyro Gearloose from Disney cartoons.
Yeah. No, she's good value. She's worked with Adam Savage on a couple of tested projects as well.
Oh, nice.
So they just did the ultimate tape dispenser was one of the ones she did. It's got about like 12 different rolls of tape on this thing, and so...
Anyway, thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Head Show, broadcast weekly, most of the time. Yeah.
Usually, mostly.
Yeah. We can be found at facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, twitter.com/Aussie Tech Heads, and youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads. You can email us, Glenn Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au, and you can hear the Aussie Tech Heads Show on AussieTechRadio.com, 24/7 back-to-back play of some of the best tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. New shows added each Friday. Thanks for listening and putting up with us, guys, and we'll catch you next time. Glenn needs another holiday.
That's it. So, yeah.